Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're going deep on secure software development.
Ooh, yeah.
We've got some really cool resources to dig into,
Yeah.
from SANS Institute and Aspect Security
Mm-hmm.
to CERT, and even some stuff from the U.S. Treasury. Because we're going to be exploring how to build software that can actually, withstand the bad guys out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that software security is becoming more and more critical these days.
Right.
The threats are constantly evolving.
Absolutely.
And it's not enough to just build software that works.
Yeah.
We need to build software that can actually defend itself.
Right. It has to be tough, resilient.
Like a fortress.
I love that, like a fortress, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to kick things off, let's dive into the SANS Institute's Secure Development Curriculum.
Okay, yeah.
They have this series of 8 courses, right?
That's right.
And they're really all about equipping developers with the skills to build defenses against attacks.
Mm.
So what stood out to you about this curriculum?
Well, I think what's really impressive about SANS's approach is their focus on practical skills.
Okay.
They don't just talk about security in theory.
Right.
They actually give you the hands-on experience you need to build secure systems.
So it's like you're learning how to defend against real-world attacks, right? Not just like textbook scenarios.
Yeah, for example, imagine you're learning about SQL injection, which is a very common web application vulnerability.
Right, and it's been around forever, it seems like.
It has. And SANS doesn't just teach you what SQL injection is.
Okay.
They show you how to exploit it, and then they teach you how to defend against it
Okay.
in different programming languages.
Oh, wow. So they actually have you do it, like,
Yes.
really exploit the vulnerability and then write the code to defend against it.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
really hands-on.
It is.
It's not just reading about it in a book.
Right, and it's not just limited to web applications either. SANS has courses on securing all sorts of systems, embedded systems,
Yeah.
mobile apps,
Oh, wow.
you name it.
And they cover a wide range of programming languages too, right?
They do.
Like Java,
Definitely.
.NET,
Yeah.
PHP.
Yep.
C, C++.
All the major languages.
Okay, so they're really covering a lot of ground.
Yeah, they even have a course on penetration testing.
Ooh. Now that sounds interesting. Learning to think like a hacker.
It is. It's really fascinating.
But how does that actually help you build more secure software?
Well, the idea is that by understanding how hackers think,
Okay.
you can better anticipate their moves and build defenses accordingly.
So it's like you're learning to exploit vulnerabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So you can then protect against them.
Exactly.
That's pretty clever.
It's a bit like learning martial arts.
Okay.
Not to pick a fight,
Right.
but to understand how to defend yourself better.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
It's about knowing your enemy
Mm-hmm.
and understanding their tactics.
So you can stay one step ahead. Right.
Now, Aspect Security.
Yeah,
They're another big name in this field, right?
they are.
And they seem to take a more holistic approach. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
They offer courses not just for developers,
Right.
but also for testers, architects, and even managers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really recognizing that secure software development isn't just a developer's job, right?
It's not. It's a team effort.
It's everybody's responsibility.
Exactly. You could have the most secure code in the world.
Okay.
But if your testers aren't checking for security flaws,
Right.
or if your managers aren't prioritizing security practices,
Right.
the whole system can crumble.
Yeah, it's like a chain, right?
It is.
The weakest link.
The weakest link breaks the whole chain.
Exactly. So Aspect Security is really emphasizing that everyone needs to be on board with security.
They are. And I think that's really important because it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that security is someone else's problem.
Yeah, it's easy to silo it off, right?
But Aspect Security is saying, no, this is everyone's problem.
Everyone needs to be involved.
We all have a role to play.
Exactly.
I like that.
And they also offer a variety of e-learning modules.
Yeah.
So you can learn at your own pace.
So if you're short on time,
Yeah.
or you just want to focus on specific areas, you
Yeah.
can kind of pick and choose what you want to learn.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
It's a very flexible approach.
So it sounds like they're really trying to make security training accessible to everyone,
They are.
which is great because I think sometimes security can feel very intimidating,
It can.
especially if you're not a security expert.
Yeah, there's a lot of jargon.
Yeah.
And it can be hard to know where to start.
Yeah.
But Aspect Security is doing a good job of breaking down those barriers
Right.
and making security more approachable
I like that, making it more approachable. Yeah.
for everyone.
Now, it makes you wonder, though, if we're spreading the responsibility too thin, right?
That's a good question.
Because if everybody's responsible for security,
Mm-hmm.
then is anybody really responsible?
It's a valid concern.
Shouldn't developers ultimately be accountable for writing secure code?
Well, I think developers definitely have a critical role to play.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that security is a shared responsibility.
Okay.
A developer might write a perfectly secure component,
Okay.
but if it's integrated into a system with insecure configurations
Right.
or weak authentication,
Mm-hmm.
the entire application becomes vulnerable.
Right. So it's about more than just the code itself.
Right.
It is about the entire ecosystem.
A whole environment.
Yeah, the way it's all put together.
Exactly.
So it's really about creating a culture of security
Yeah.
throughout the organization.
Yeah, the organization.
Where everyone from the CEO
Mm-hmm.
to the intern
Right.
understands the importance of building secure software
And feels empowered to contribute.
and feels empowered to contribute. Yeah,
It's about creating a security-first mindset,
I like that.
where security is not seen as an afterthought,
Yeah,
but as an integral part of everything you do
an integral part of the process.
from the very beginning.
So it's not just about checking boxes.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
about really embedding security into the DNA of the organization.
Exactly.
That's a great way to put it.
It's about making security a core value.
And I think aspect security is really on the right track by recognizing that everyone involved in the software development lifecycle needs to be equipped with the knowledge and skills to build secure systems.
I agree.
It's not just about the developers.
It's about everyone.
It's about the testers, the architects, the managers, everyone.
Everyone has a role to play,
I like that.
and they need to be empowered to play it.
Okay, so we've talked about SANS, we've talked about aspect security.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about CERT.
Okay.
They're known for their focus on best practices, right? And avoiding common programming errors.
Mm.
So what were some of the key takeaways for you from their research?
Well, one of the most interesting things I learned from CERT is that the majority of vulnerabilities
Okay.
actually stem from a small number of common programming errors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not like there are thousands of unique, complex vulnerabilities out there
Okay.
that developers need to worry about.
So it's not like this ever-expanding universe of,
No.
crazy vulnerabilities.
It's often the same handful of mistakes
Oh.
being made over and over again.
So it's almost like if we can just get the basics right,
Mhm.
we can eliminate a huge chunk of the security problems we see.
Exactly. It's like knowing that most home fires start in the kitchen.
Okay.
You can focus your prevention efforts there.
I like that.
It's about understanding the common patterns
Yeah.
and addressing them proactively.
So it's not about knowing every single vulnerability
Right.
out there in the world?
It's about mastering the fundamentals
Okay.
and avoiding those common pitfalls.
So it's more about having good habits as a developer
Yep.
than it is about, memorizing every single vulnerability.
Right.
That's pretty encouraging, actually.
It is. It means that we can make significant progress in security
Yeah.
by focusing on a relatively small number of key areas.
That's a great point.
And that's where secure coding standards come in.
Okay. Yeah, those are like guidelines, right?
They are.
To help developers write more secure code.
Exactly. Think of them like guardrails
Okay.
that prevent you from veering off the road into dangerous territory.
I like that analogy, guardrails.
They provide a framework
Mm-hmm.
for thinking about security throughout the coding process.
So how do these standards actually work in practice?
Well, they offer specific guidance on things like
Right.
how to handle user input,
Mm-hmm.
how to manage data securely,
Okay.
and how to avoid common vulnerabilities like cross-site scripting and SQL injection.
So it's almost like having a security expert looking over your shoulder,
Yeah,
pointing out potential issues before they become problems.
exactly.
That's great.
And the best part is that these standards are constantly evolving
Right?
as new threats emerge
Yeah.
and new vulnerabilities are discovered.
Mm-hmm.
The standards are updated to reflect those changes.
So it's not a static document,
It's not
something that's constantly being updated
like a living document.
to keep up with the latest threats.
Exactly.
So it's not just a one and done kind of thing.
It's not.
Developers need to stay up to date on these standards
Yes.
and adapt their coding practices accordingly.
It's a continuous learning process.
Right. And it's not just about the developers either.
Right.
Organizations need to create a culture of continuous learning and improvement where security is seen as an integral part of the software development process.
It needs to be baked into the culture.
I like that.
It's not just about following rules.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the why behind the rules
Mm-hmm.
and applying them thoughtfully.
And constantly learning and improving.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of taking your skills to the next level, there are certifications like the SENS GIC Secure Software Programmer or GSSP.
Yeah.
And the Certified Secure Software Lifecycle Professional or CSSLP.
Right.
What are your thoughts on these certifications?
Well, I think they're incredibly valuable
Okay.
in the world of software security.
Yeah.
These certifications are like badges of honor.
Okay.
They signal to potential employers that you have a deep understanding of secure coding principles
Right.
and that you're committed to building secure software.
So if you're a developer looking to stand out in the job market,
Mm-hmm.
these certifications could give you a real edge.
They definitely could.
They show that you're not just a coder,
Right.
but a security-conscious developer.
Someone who understands the importance of building secure systems.
And they're not just about personal achievement either, right?
Yeah, they can benefit organizations as well.
How so?
Well, when an organization has certified security professionals on staff,
Okay.
it signals to clients and partners that they take security seriously.
That makes sense.
It builds trust and credibility,
Right.
which is especially crucial in industries that handle sensitive data.
Like finance or healthcare,
Exactly.
where security is paramount.
Absolutely.
So it's really a win-win situation.
It is.
Developers gain valuable skills and recognition,
Mm-hmm.
and organizations benefit from a more secure development environment
Right.
and increased trust from clients.
It's a good investment for everyone involved.
And speaking of community, right,
Yeah,
there are some amazing organizations out there
there are.
where developers can connect with like-minded individuals who are passionate about security.
Yeah.
What are some of the groups that stand out to you?
Well, OWASP is a great one.
Oh, WASC. Okay.
It's a global nonprofit organization,
Okay.
and they have local chapters all over the world
Okay.
where developers can meet up, attend workshops, and learn from industry experts.
So it's not just an online thing.
It's not.
They have actual in-person events
They do.
where people can get together and talk about security.
Yeah. It's a great way to network
Mm-hmm.
and learn from each other.
And share ideas.
Exactly.
And they also have a ton of open source projects
They do.
where developers can contribute their skills
Mm-hmm.
and make a tangible impact on the security landscape. So you can actually get involved
Yes.
and make a difference.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
It's a great way to give back to the community.
Yeah, and to really learn by doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not just reading about security.
You're actually building secure systems.
You're getting your hands dirty
I like that.
and making a real impact.
And then there's the Web Application Security Consortium, or WASC.
Mhm.
What do they do?
They're all about developing industry standard terminology and best practices for web application security.
Okay, so they're like the keepers of the standards.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
They help to ensure that everyone is speaking the same language
Right.
when it comes to web application security.
So if you're a developer who's really interested in, helping to shake the way we talk about and address security threats, WASC seems like a great place to get involved.
It is.
It's fascinating to see how these organizations are really driving the industry forward
They are.
through collaboration and knowledge sharing.
Absolutely.
But what about the role of government in all of this?
Mm-hmm.
We often think of security as a private sector issue,
Right.
but it seems like even the U.S. Treasury Department
Yeah.
is taking software security very seriously.
So they are, which is interesting.
It is.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think they recognize that secure software is critical for national security and economic stability.
Okay, so it's not just about protecting data anymore.
It's not.
It's about protecting our country
It is.
and our economy.
Yeah, it's a matter of national importance.
That's a big deal.
It is.
So what are they actually doing about it?
Well, they have a whole research agenda dedicated to advancing the state of the art in designing and testing secure applications. Wow, a whole research agenda.
Yeah, they're not just talking about it.
They're putting their money where their mouth is.
They're funding research
They're funding research.
to develop new and innovative solutions.
That's impressive.
It is.
So what are some of the specific areas they're focusing on?
Well, one of their top priorities is developing better methodologies and tools for building security into software from the ground up.
So they're really trying to change the way we think about software development,
They are.
making security a fundamental consideration from the very beginning.
Exactly.
Not an afterthought.
Not something you bolt on at the end.
Right.
It needs to be baked in from the start.
And they're also investing in research to develop better metrics for measuring software security.
That's right.
Why is that so important?
Well, right now we often rely on vague notions of good or bad security.
Oh, okay.
But The Treasury Department wants to move beyond that and
Mm-hmm.
develop more quantifiable measures of risk.
So instead of just saying an application is secure,
Yeah.
we could actually assign a risk score
Right.
based on specific criteria.
Exactly.
That would be huge.
It would be.
That would be incredibly valuable
Yeah.
for organizations trying to assess their security posture.
Absolutely.
Because right now it's kind of like,
It's a bit of a guessing game.
it's a guessing game, yeah.
You don't really know how secure you are.
Just hope for the best.
You hope you're doing enough.
But the Treasury Department is saying, no, we need to be more scientific about this.
You need to be able to measure risk,
Quantify it,
quantify it.
and then make informed decisions based on that data.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
It is. It's a very forward-thinking approach.
And it sounds like they're not just talking about it.
They're funding research
You're actually funding research projects.
to make this a reality.
To make this happen.
Yeah, they're partnering with universities, research labs, and private companies.
Wow. So it's a real collaborative effort
It is.
to really push the boundaries of what's possible in software security.
Absolutely.
And it's not just for financial institutions, right?
No, it's for everyone,
It's for everyone who uses software.
which is pretty much everyone these days.
That's a good point.
We all rely on software.
So the work that the Treasury Department is doing is really going to benefit everyone.
It will.
And speaking of pushing boundaries, we have to talk about the Rugged Software Development Initiative.
Oh, yeah.
This is a really interesting movement
It is.
that encourages developers to create software that's, tough enough to withstand attacks.
Yeah. They talk about building software that's rugged.
Rug. I like that word.
The good word.
It really captures the idea
It does.
of building software that can take a hit
And keep going.
and keep going. Yeah.
It's not about building fragile systems
Right.
that break at the first sign of trouble.
So it's not about building a house of cards.
No, it's about building a fortress.
A fortress, yeah. I like that analogy.
It's about building systems that are resilient
Mm-hmm.
and adaptable.
And can withstand the inevitable attacks and failures that will come their way.
Because, let's face it, no software is perfect.
Right?
There will always be vulnerabilities.
There will always be bugs
and there will always be attackers.
trying to exploit those vulnerabilities.
So we need to build software that can handle that.
That can take a punch.
Exactly.
Keep it going.
That's what rugged software development is all about.
I like that.
It's a really important movement.
Yeah, it really feels like a shift in mindset
It is.
from just trying to prevent attacks
Mm-hmm.
to building systems that can actually withstand them
And recover from
and
them.
recover from them, yeah.
It's about building software that's tough.
That can handle the real world.
The real world is a messy place.
It is.
And our software needs to be able to handle that mess.
I like that.
It needs to be rugged.
So it's not just about writing code that works.
Right.
It's about writing code that can survive
Survive and thrive.
and thrive, yeah, in a hostile environment. That's a great way to put it.
It's about building software that can handle whatever the world throws at it.
And that's a challenge I think a lot of developers are ready to embrace
I think so too.
because we all want to build software that matters,
Yeah.
software that makes a difference,
And software that lasts.
and software that lasts. Yeah,
That's what rugged software development is all about.
I like that.
It's a really exciting movement.
It is.
And I think it has the potential to really change the way we think about software development.
I agree. It's a very forward-thinking approach.
It is.
And it's one that I think is going to become increasingly important in the years to come
I think so too.
as the threats we face become more and more sophisticated.
And as our reliance on software continues to grow,
Absolutely.
we need to build software that can keep up.
We need to build software that can stand up to the challenge.
We need to build rugged software.
I love it. Rugged software. That's what we need.
That's the future.
That's the future. Well said.
I think so.
This is fascinating stuff.
It is.
It seems like there's a real shift happening in the way we think about software development,
There it is.
with security becoming less of an afterthought and more of a core principle.
Absolutely.
And that shift is being driven by organizations like SANS,
Yeah.
Aspect Security, CERT,
Yep.
OWASP,
Right.
and even the U.S. Treasury Department.
All pushing for a more secure and resilient digital world.
I like that.
It's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
We need more of that.
We do, absolutely.
We need to make security a priority
We need to bake it in
from the very beginning.
from the start.
And we need to work together
Yeah,
to create a more secure future for everyone.
I love that.
It's an important mission.
It is. It's a mission worth fighting for.
Absolutely.
Well said.
I think so.
All right. Well, on that note,
Yeah.
let's take a quick break.
Okay.
And we'll be back in a few minutes to continue our deep dive into secure software development.
Sounds good.
It really feels like we're at a turning point, right? Where security is finally getting the attention it deserves.
Yeah, it's no longer an afterthought.
It's becoming a core principle,
Exactly.
which is a good thing
It is.
because the threats we face are only getting more sophisticated.
Absolutely.
You mentioned earlier that CERT's research
Mhm.
highlighted how many vulnerabilities
Yeah.
stem from just a handful of common errors.
Right.
That's got to be a bit of a relief in a way, right?
It is. It's actually quite encouraging.
Because it means we can potentially make huge strides in security
Mm-hmm.
just by focusing on these common pitfalls.
Exactly. It's like knowing that most car accidents happen at intersections.
Okay.
You could focus your safety efforts there.
I like that analogy.
It's about understanding the common patterns
Right.
and addressing them proactively.
So if we're trying to be more rugged in our approach to software development,
Yeah.
like the Rugged Manifesto suggests, where do we even begin?
Well, we've touched on secure coding standards already. Okay.
And those are a great place to start.
Right. They provide a framework,
They do.
almost like a checklist,
Yeah.
to help developers write code that's inherently more secure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just about ticking boxes, right?
No, it's not about blindly following rules.
Okay.
It's about understanding the why behind those rules.
Yeah.
And applying them thoughtfully
To different situations.
to different situations. Okay.
Because blindly following rules without understanding the underlying principles
Right.
won't necessarily lead to secure code.
It won't.
It's like trying to learn a language by memorizing phrases
Okay.
without understanding the grammar.
Yeah, you'll be able to say a few things,
Right?
but you won't really be able to speak the language.
You don't be able to have a conversation.
Exactly.
You won't be able to express yourself.
Right.
So it's the same with secure coding.
Mm.
You need to understand the principles,
Yeah.
not just the rules.
The rules are just a starting point.
Okay.
They're a guide.
But you need to be able to think critically
Yeah.
and adapt those rules to fit your specific needs.
And your coding style.
And your coding style, exactly.
So it's really about developing that security mindset
It is.
rather than just memorizing a set of rules.
Right.
Now, earlier we talked about certifications,
Right.
specifically the SANS GIS Secure Software Programmer, or GSSP.
Yeah.
What makes this certification stand out in such a crowded field of security credentials?
Well, the GSSP is known for its rigor.
Okay.
It's not just a multiple choice exam.
Oh, really?
No, it actually tests your practical skills in secure coding.
So how does it do that?
Well, imagine you're presented with a real-world scenario,
Okay.
a piece of code with a vulnerability,
Okay.
and you have to identify the flaw and implement a fix.
Wow. So it's really hands-on.
It is.
It's not just about knowing the theory.
Right.
It's about being able to apply it under pressure.
Exactly.
That's definitely going to appeal to employers who are looking for developers who can actually build secure systems.
Absolutely. They want people who can walk the walk,
Not just talk the talk.
not just talk the talk. Right?
They want people who can actually get their hands dirty
Yeah.
and write secure code.
That's what the GSSP demonstrates.
Okay, what about the Certified Secure Software Lifecycle Professional, or CSSLP? How does that differ from the GSSP?
Well, the CSSLP takes a broader view.
Okay.
It's not just about secure coding. It's about integrating security into every stage of the software development lifecycle.
So it's more holistic.
It is. It's about looking at the big picture.
Okay.
Think of it like this.
Okay.
The GSSP is focused on the tactical level, ensuring that developers are writing secure code.
Okay.
The CSSLP is more strategic,
Okay.
ensuring that security is baked into the entire development process.
So from beginning to end,
From beginning to end, yeah.
from requirements gathering to design to testing to deployment and beyond.
Wow.
Wow.
It's about making security a part of everything you do.
So it's about creating that culture of security.
It is.
That we were talking about earlier.
Throughout the organization.
Yeah, having someone with the CSSLP certification could be a huge asset for a company
It could.
that's really committed to building security into its DNA.
Absolutely. It shows that they're serious about security,
It's not just lip service.
not just a checkbox.
They're actually investing in it.
They're putting their money where their mouth is.
And they're bringing in people
Yeah.
who have the knowledge and skills to really make a difference.
Exactly.
Now let's dive into some real-world examples.
Okay.
Remember the Equifax breach back in 2017?
Yeah.
That was a major wake-up call
It was.
for a lot of organizations.
For a lot of people.
It really showed just how devastating the consequences of insecure software can be.
Yeah, it was a huge breach.
Millions of people had their personal information exposed,
It was a nightmare.
putting them at risk of identity theft and financial fraud.
And all because of a vulnerability in a web application.
It's scary to think
It is.
how one seemingly small coding error
Yeah.
can have such a massive impact.
It's a ripple effect.
It really highlights the importance
Yeah.
of not just building software that works,
Right.
but building software that's resilient,
Yeah.
that can withstand attacks,
Absolutely. We need to build software that can take a hit.
that can take a punch and keep going.
And keep going, yeah.
And it's not just about preventing breaches either.
Right.
Secure software development practices
Yeah.
can also lead to higher quality software overall.
That's a good point.
How so?
Well, when you build software with security in mind,
Okay.
you're forced to think about potential failure points
Mm,
and design for resilience.
okay.
You're not just trying to prevent the most obvious attacks.
Right.
You're also considering what might happen
Yeah.
if something unexpected occurs.
So it's like building a house with strong foundations.
I like that analogy.
It's not just about keeping out burglars.
Right.
It's about ensuring that the house can withstand a storm.
Or an earthquake.
Or an earthquake, yeah.
It's about building something that will last.
That's a great point.
And that attention to detail, that focus on quality and resilience,
Yeah.
ultimately leads to software
Yeah.
that's more reliable,
Okay.
more maintainable,
Mhm.
and ultimately more valuable.
So secure software is not just about security.
It's about building better software in general.
I like that.
It's about raising the bar.
Raising the bar for quality.
Exactly.
Now, circling back to the U.S. Treasury Department,
Yeah,
they've identified several challenges
they have.
and potential research projects
Right.
that could really move the needle in software
They
security.
do some really interesting work.
What are some of the areas that you found most interesting?
Well, one area that caught my attention was their focus on advancing the state-of-the-art
Okay.
in designing and testing secure applications.
Mhm.
They recognize that current methodologies and tools often fall short,
Right.
and they're actively seeking new and innovative approaches.
So they're not just sitting back and waiting for the industry to figure it out.
No, they're taking a proactive role.
They're driving innovation.
They're leading the charge.
What specifically are they looking for?
Well, they're looking for ways to build security in from the ground up
Okay.
to create software that's inherently resistant to attack.
So it's not about bolting on security at the end.
No, it's about baking it in from the start.
It's about making security part of the DNA of the software.
Exactly.
They're also interested in developing better metrics for measuring software security.
That's right.
Why is that so important?
Well, right now we often rely on subjective assessments of security.
Okay.
We say an application is secure or not secure.
Right.
But what does that really mean?
Yeah, it's kind of vague.
It is. It's not very precise.
The Treasury Department wants to move beyond those vague notions and develop more quantifiable measures of risk. So instead of just saying an application is secure,
Yeah.
we could actually assign a risk score
Right.
based on specific criteria.
Exactly.
That would be incredibly valuable
It would be.
for organizations trying to prioritize their security efforts.
Absolutely.
Because right now, it's kind of a guessing game.
It is. You don't really know how secure you are.
You just hope for the best.
You hope you're doing enough.
But the Treasury Department is saying, no, we need to be more scientific about this.
We need to be able to measure risk,
Quantify it.
quantify it.
And then make informed decisions based on that data.
Exactly. It's about bringing more rigor to the field of software security,
I like that. More rigor.
more scientific precision.
More data-driven decision-making.
Yeah, it's about taking the guesswork out of security.
And it sounds like they're not just talking about it
No, they're funding research projects
to make this a reality.
and make it happen.
They're partnering with universities, research labs, and private companies
It's a collaborative effort.
to really push the boundaries of what's possible in software security.
It's an exciting time to be involved in this field,
It is. There's so much innovation happening.
and so much potential for growth.
Now, let's talk about something
Okay.
that often gets overlooked in the rush to build software.
Okay.
The secure development lifecycle.
Yeah, the SDLC.
Why is this concept so crucial for building secure systems?
Well, the SDLC is all about baking security into the very DNA of the software development process.
So it's not just about writing secure code.
Right.
It's about integrating security considerations
Into every stage of the life cycle,
from beginning to end.
from requirements gathering to design to testing to deployment and beyond.
So it's a holistic approach.
It is.
Recognizing that security is not just a technical issue,
Right.
but a process issue.
It's about building security into the way you work.
It's about making security part of the culture.
Exactly.
And there are many different models and methodologies for implementing a secure SDLC,
There are.
each with its own strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
Some popular ones include the Microsoft Security Development Lifecycle, or SDL, OWASP's Software Assurance Maturity Model, or SAM,
Yeah.
and the Building Security and Maturity Model, or BSIM.
Right. There are a lot of options out there.
So it sounds like there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
No, there's not.
Organizations need to choose the model that best fits their needs.
And their culture.
And their culture, yeah.
It's about finding the right balance.
Between security and agility.
Exactly. You don't want to stifle innovation,
Right.
but you also don't want to compromise security.
It's a delicate balance.
It is.
And it's an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
A process of continuous improvement.
It's not about achieving some mythical state of perfect security.
Right.
It's about constantly striving to improve your security posture.
And adapting to the ever-changing threat landscape.
Exactly.
Because the threats are always evolving.
They are.
So we need to be constantly evolving our defenses.
We need to be one step ahead.
And that requires a commitment from everyone involved in the software development process.
From the developers to the testers to the managers and executives.
Everyone needs to be on board.
Everyone needs to be a part of the solution.
It's been a wild ride, hasn't it? I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of secure software development.
Yeah, there's so much to cover.
We've gone from education and certifications to government initiatives and even the whole philosophy behind building rugged software.
It's a big topic.
It is a big topic, but as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some key takeaways you think our listeners should walk away with?
I think the most important takeaway is that security is a journey, not a destination.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, it means that you're never really done with security.
Oh, okay.
It's an ongoing process
Right.
of learning, adapting, and evolving your practices as the threat landscape changes.
So you can't just check a box and say, okay, we're secure now.
No, you can't.
You have to be constantly vigilant, constantly learning,
Constantly improving.
constantly adapting.
It's a never-ending process.
It's a journey.
It is.
So don't expect to achieve perfect security overnight.
You won't.
It's about continuous improvement.
Right.
Constantly striving to make your software more resilient.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Okay.
Try new tools and techniques. Challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
See what works best for your organization.
I like that.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach to security.
Right. What works for one organization might not work for another.
Exactly. You need to find what works for you.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Oh, yeah. That's important.
There's an incredible community of security professionals out there.
There is.
From online forums to industry organizations who are willing to share their knowledge and experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't be afraid to reach out.
Right. There's no shame in asking for help.
No, there's not.
And remember that security is everyone's responsibility.
It's not just the security team's job. Okay. From developers to testers to managers to executives.
Yeah.
Everyone has a role to play.
In building and maintaining secure software systems.
Absolutely. Security is a team sport.
So it's about creating a culture of security where everyone understands the importance of building secure software.
Right.
And feels empowered to contribute.
Exactly.
So it's not just about having policies and procedure.
No, it's about creating an environment where people feel comfortable speaking up
Yeah.
about security concerns.
Right. Where they feel like they can make a difference.
Exactly.
And when you have that kind of culture,
yeah,
security becomes an enabler.
it does.
Not a blocker.
It fosters innovation
Okay.
and allows you to build better software faster.
So security is not the enemy of speed.
No, it's
No,
actually the key.
To building sustainable software.
Sustainable, secure software.
Exactly.
That's a great point. And finally, I think it's important to remember that the best way to learn about secure software development is to do it.
Oh, okay.
Get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Experiment. Make mistakes.
Right.
And learn from them.
Because that's where the real learning happens.
It is. You can read all the books and articles you want.
Right.
But until you actually get your hands dirty and start building things,
Yeah.
you're not really going to learn anything.
It's like learning to ride a bike.
It is.
You can't just read about it.
You have to actually get on the bike and fall a few times.
Exactly.
That's how you learn.
And that's how you get better.
Right.
So don't be afraid to experiment.
Don't be afraid to fail.
Don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah, because that's how you grow.
So, as we...
That's a mission worth striving for.
Absolutely.
It's something we should all be passionate about.
Because at the end of the day, software is about people.
It is.
It's about connecting people,
Yeah.
empowering people,
Mm.
and making their lives better.
And we have a responsibility
Yeah.
to do that
To
securely.
build software that protects people
Absolutely.
and their data
And their privacy.
and their freedom.
So let's go out there
Yeah.
and build some amazing software
Secure, rugged, resilient software.
that makes the world a better place.
That's a great message to end on.
I think so too.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
It was my pleasure.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
I really enjoyed it.
Me too.
It's always great to talk about security
And to explore these important issues.
with such an engaged audience.
Well, we have the best listeners.
We do.
So thank you to everyone who's been listening.
And for all your great questions.
We appreciate you.
We do.
And we hope you'll join us again next time
For another deep dive.
into the world of technology.
Until then, stay curious
Stay safe.
and keep learning.
Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.